evening and welcome to Newswatch on this 19th day of May 2021. Thank you for choosing Hope TV, where you look and live. My name is Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. These are the day's stories. George Kimburi of the People's Empowerment Party, Palmeke of the ODM Party, and Peter Thinji of the UDA Party have won the Juja, Bonchari, and Rorie ward by-elections, respectively. The three won in their by-elections amid cases of violence and alleged voter bribery, as ODM leader Raila Odinga condemned the incidents. Dickens Luvanda begins with this report.
The ruling Jubilee Party has lost in the three by-elections, Juja and Bonchari parliamentary races, and the Rorie ward by-election in Nyandarua County. George Koimburi of the Moses Kuria-led People's Empowerment Party beat Jubilee Party Susan Waititu to clinch the seat after garnering 12,159 votes against Susan Waititu's 5,746 votes.
The constituent returning officer hereby declares that George Koimburi Dongo, ID number 128337271, has been duly elected as a member of National Assembly for Juja constituency in the election held on 18th day of May 2021.
The IEBC announced Koimburi as the MP-elect, with Dr. Joseph Gishui, a young medical doctor and an independent candidate, settling on a distant third with 1,356 votes. The by-election was marred by voter apathy and election malpractices, including voter bribery, with the goons storming the Mango High School tallying center to disrupt the exercise, therefore suspending the exercise for about 6 hours.
Every vote counts.
Must come here.
An incident that has received a wide condemnation from both the IEBC and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
I want to assure you that the Commission is committed to having the will of the people of Juja and any part of the country that have elections. The will of the people must be respected.
The Jubilee candidate in the Juja by-election, Susan Waititu, walked out of the tallying center in protest against the tallying process and alleged vote rigging, and called for a fresh by-election.
The candidate
in Rorie ward of Nyandarua County, the UDA party, which is affiliated to the Deputy President William Ruto, claimed victory after its candidate Francis Muraya Githaiga garnered 4,303 votes against Jubilee Party's Peter Thinji, who garnered 3,143 votes.
Githaiga Francis Muraya, having garnered 4,303 votes, is the winner of the Rorie County Assembly Ward by-election.
Rorie Ward residents, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be your MCA.
With the DP Ruto commending all the UDA candidates for their spirited fight.
Returning officer hereby declares that Robert Pavel Oboto Ameke of ID number 13818674 has been duly elected as the member of National Assembly for Bonchari constituency.
In Kisii County's Bonchari by-elections, ODM candidate Pavel Oimeka was declared the MP-elect after garnering 8,049 votes, followed by Jubilee Party's Zebedeo Pori, who got 7,279 votes, while UDA's Teresa Bitutu, the widow of the late Member of Parliament John Oro Oyoka, took the third position with 6,964 votes. Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dickens, for that report. Meanwhile, the Elections Observation Group, ELOG, has condemned violence that was witnessed in Juja and Bonchari by-elections. ELOG chairperson Anne Ireri and coordinator Mule Musau addressed the press in Nairobi, where they condemned that recommended that swift action be taken on the perpetrators who were behind the disruption of the Juja constituency tallying process.
Election observers were forced to scamper for safety after armed goons invaded the Mangu High School amphitheater tallying center, forcing IEBC to suspend the tallying process. While acknowledging the seriousness of this violation of the Electoral Code of Conduct and Offences, we also note that this seems to be a growing trend in the conduct of elections in this country. ILOG noted similar disruptions in Matungu, Kabuchai, and London Ward by elections earlier this year, where senior politicians or so-called super agents with hired goons attempted to disrupt the processes and were involved in running battles with security officers, creating fear and despondency amongst voters and the public.
However, in the Juja JKUAT DEB polling station, our observer was briefly ejected before the field leadership intervened to allow him to continue with his work. This is still the station where later in the day there was an attempt to try and stuff ballot boxes using some of the hired goons who I later maybe came back in the evening. In all the polling stations observed, ballot boxes were shown to be empty before the process started. COVID-19 protocols were adhered to the polling stations where we were present. In the polling stations, again, where we were, the presence of security officers was witnessed, although we noted that there was a heavier security deployment in Bonchari.
President Uhuru Kenyatta on Wednesday appointed Justice Martha Koome as Kenya's first female Chief Justice following National Assembly's approval. Uhuru made the announcement in a Gazette notice dated May 19, 2021. Koome is now expected to take the oath of office on Thursday. She beat 9 other contestants during the CJ interviews. Alice Diana brings us this story.
And you will find that in every of those issues, we have made specific recommendations approving the competence of Lady Justice, Chief Justice Martha Koome.
When Justice Martha Koome talked about all the things she would do in the judiciary in 100 days, I believe she's a woman who is a woman of integrity, a lady who can do what she says. Because, Mr. Speaker, I have dealt with her when she was assisting us in one of the schools she's been through, Mbeo Primary. And, Mr. Speaker, she's a very good mentor. Let me tell, she gives her time and energy because she mentored the children of Mbeo Primary.
Martha Koome was actually the expert in the entire country on issues of family law. And she taught me. She was the person I went to all the time when I wanted to understand issues of family law. And I became an expert courtesy of Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome. Very focused, very targeted, and very clear about things she stands on.
Hours after the National Assembly unanimously approved Martha Koome's nomination to the position of Chief Justice on Wednesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta, through a Gazette notice dated May 19, 2021, appointed her as Kenya's next Chief Justice. The head of state gazetted Justice Koome to head the judiciary for a non-renewable 10-year term. Koome, who is expected to be sworn into office on Thursday, makes history as Kenya's first female Chief Justice. She was one of the 10 applicants who were interviewed to succeed former CJ David Maraga. President Kenyatta had forwarded her name to Parliament for approval on April 28th after she emerged the best candidate among the 10, with the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs JLAC that vetted her last week, finding the 61-year-old judge, who has an aggregate of 33 years' experience in the legal profession, suitable to steer the judiciary. Prior to her appointment as the CJ, Koome was serving in the Court of Appeal in Nairobi and previously in Nyeri and Malindi after being appointed as Judge of Court of Appeal in 2012. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
A magistrate court has dismissed an application by the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, to have the media barred from covering the testimony of Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Chief Magistrate Francis Andai ruled that the application has no merit, hence dismissed it. The DPP, through prosecutor Gelson Makori, made an application for the trial court to bar the media from covering the trial, claiming that her testimony may be taken out of the context or misreported, with Judith Geserwa representing former PS Peter Mangiti asking the court not to bar the media, and further requested 10 days to go through the new witness statement from Waiguru, who was present in the court. Governor Waiguru is expected to testify in the 791 million Kenya shillings NYS criminal case against former PS Peter Mangiti, former Director General Nelson Githinji, and 22 others. The case has been adjourned to August 5th since two accused persons, namely Ben Gethi and Samuel Washege, are not represented following the death of their lawyer.
We would be requesting that we reschedule this hearing to a date when we have ample space where we can interrogate the issues before you in a healthy space as we proceed with this matter.
The prosecution goes back behind our backs and takes statements to cover the matters that we have brought out. It may as well have been, Your Honor, that we didn't cross-examine. It is very, very prejudicial, and we will be seeking the court's protection for our clients on that basis. That I'm seeing this statement from my learned colleague. I have personally not been given, and I have 3 accused persons, and yet they are still ready. At all times, Your Honor, we must all be honest to the court and to ourselves. I think, Your Honor, that was a very serious misrepresentation that ought to have been disposed of, and the prosecution ought to have told you, we actually have not applied all these statements even now. So essentially they were not ready. So even with COVID conditions, Your Honor, they are not exempted from supplying documents and supplying them in time.
Considering this matter, the long it has taken, how far, where it is going, and the fact that also this case could land you in prison for long if the prosecution actually proves its case, or you may be set free, make a decision on whether you are ready to proceed with the case or not. Of the passing on of Mr. Ogara, and may the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace, and our sincere condolences to the family and all the practitioners who work with him. And for lack of representation of the 3rd and the 9th accused person, the hearing of the case cannot proceed today.
The Council of Governors has expressed its discontentment with the manner in which the Senate carried out the impeachment of Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi, citing violation of court orders that barred both the County Assembly of Wajir and the Senate from debating the impeachment. Addressing the press, COG chairperson Governor Martin Wambora has faulted the process, saying the Senate failed to consider critical issues in the impeachment. Wambora also announced that a full council meeting will be urgently convened this Friday, May 21st, to deliberate on the matter that the council says was politically instigated.
Yeah. The Council of Governors would like to express its discontentment in the manner in which the Senate has carried out the impeachment of Wajir Governor, His Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud. The Council strongly fought the whole process following on the following grounds. 1, violation of the court orders that barred both the County Assembly and the Senate from debating the impeachment motion. Number 2, deliberate failure by the Senate committee to consider the governor's exonerating evidence on health as captured by the Nation Survey report on health published in May 2019, which was very commendable for Wajir. 3, the Senate lowering the standard of proof and the threshold of impeachment matters, and thus exposing the counties to political upheavals. 4, failure to follow the provisions of assumptions of office of a Governor Act, resulting into a hurried swearing of the deputy governor. Senate failing to have set standards of what amounts to gross violation of the Constitution. In this regard, we shall be holding a full council meeting of governors on Friday, 21st May 2021 to deliberate on this matter and issue a comprehensive statement on the same.
Governors are elected to office by the citizens. Remember. And this contract is valid for 5 years.
Absolutely.
That is, can be renewed depending on the performance. So sometimes we wonder, and it is allowed. It is in line with our constitution. It is provided for by the law. But the point is we must be careful with the kind of threshold that has been set, so that even 100 years from today, when someone asks a question as to why Wembora or me or whoever has been impeached, it should be able to stand the test of time.
Absolutely.
And it should never be linked to politics or political affiliations, because that can shift, and it does shift from time to time.
On COVID-19 numbers today, 376 people have tested positive to the disease from a sample size of 4,153 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now 9.1%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 166,382, and cumulative tests so far conducted at 1,756,846. 318 patients have recovered, 248 from home-based and isolation care, while 70 are from various health facilities countrywide. Total recoveries now stand at 117,235, of whom 83,054 are from the home-based care and isolation program, while 31,181 are from various health facilities. 14 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, 7 of them having occurred on diverse dates within the last 1 month, while 7 are late deaths reports after conducting facility record audits in the last 1 month. This now pushes cumulative fatalities to 3,035. 1,074 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 4,626 patients are under the home-based isolation and care program. 107 patients are in the ICU, 21 of whom are on ventilatory support and 69 on supplemental oxygen. 17 patients are on observation. The residents of 3 locations in Magarini sub-county of Kilifi County have protested at an alleged plan to take over their ancestral land by the Agricultural Development Corporation, ADC. The residents of sections of Adu, Chamari, and Bungale locations are particularly angry following the suspension of land adjudication process in Adu Kamale, Adu Chamari, and Wakala adjudication sections after the ADC claimed ownership of the land. On Tuesday, the residents threatened to go as far as the International Court of Justice, ICJ, to seek justice if the government does not heed to their calls to continue with the adjudication process and if local and regional courts fail to listen to them.
Hili jambo ambalo linazungumziwa hapa ni jambo ambalo ni la life, wazungu wanasema life and death. Kwa ajili ya kwamba ukimnyima ardhi mwananchi unategemea afanye maendeleo wapi? Maana kwenye ardhi ndio atajenga, kwenye ardhi ndio atalima aweze kupata chakula chake. Serikali yetu ya Kenya inategemea kwamba wananchi hawa wote ambao wanakaa sehemu hii ambazo zimetajwa ziweze kwenda kujenga mbinguni. Huko angani kunaweza kujengwa, kunaweza kulimwa. Kwa hivyo kwa ajili ya jambo hili tumekusanyika hapa kukataa hili jambo ambalo limetajwa la ADC kuweza kuongeza mipaka yao.
Kulingana na historia, maana hata mtu akifa historia ikiandikwa haifi. Wazee wetu walisema ya kwamba mipaka yao ni kuanzia Kisiki, kuna mahali kuna kisima pale, barabara inanyosha. Ukitoka pale unaingia Tangi, unaingia Kore, unaingia Didimabul. Hiyo ndio tuliambiwa katika historia ya jamii na hata katika makaratasi mengine ndio inaonyesha kwamba ndio mpaka.
Kauli yangu kwa serikali ni kwamba kile ambacho kimeonekana saa hii kwanza ni kwa sababu wale wazee wetu walikuwa hana ufahamu kwamba mpaka ukiwekwa na tinga kwanza niende kwa rahamani, na kwa rahamani haikuwekwa. So saa hii sisi kama jamii, ama kauli yangu kama mkaji hapa, ADC niondoke, zile sehemu ambazo ardhi imepangwa igawanywe na jamii tugawanyiwe, na ule mpaka ambao jamii yetu ilikuwa imeagana na wale wazungu na wale waasisi wa ADC uwekwe kwa mpaka wa ramani ya Kenya.
Tunayotaka ni ile haki yetu tuliyepigania kutoka kwa Jetrofa. Sasa tunahitaji ile haki yetu. Wakale ipimwe, Chamari ipimwe, Hadu ipimwe, huko Kisikidini Bumbi ipimwe, ili ardhi hii yetu kama tunavokaa hapa tuone tunakaa nchi yetu, haki ya wazee.
Hii shule ni shule ya umma, imeanzishwa na community. Hii shule ilianza mwaka wa 2007 na ikachukuliwa na serikali mwaka wa 2011, na hata tumefanya KCP hapa. Kwa hivyo ninashangaa kwa sababu ya kwamba inasemekana kwamba hili eneo limechukuliwa na ADC.
Let us take our first commercial break on News Watch tonight. We have plenty more news coming up, so stay with us.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Join John Cousin every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Cousin every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Whether you are fat or thin, and for me, I don't consider myself fat. I consider myself good for my purpose, to hug women. When they come crying, and they come and hug me, they just come and I hug them and they cry and cry and cry until they are comfortable.
We praise together, we praise Him.
Welcome back. Delivery of health services in Uasin Gishu County is set to receive a major boost following donor support that will see several major hospitals installed with modern ICT equipment. According to Governor Jackson Mandago, the installation of the ICT equipment will facilitate the automation of health services that will make it easy for locals to access specialized services. Speaking at the county headquarters in Eldoret Town, while receiving donations from Circuit Business Limited, Mandago said his administration is committed to using technology to to enhance locals' access to health services. Circuit Business Limited Managing Director Godfrey Owino said Uasin Gishu is among 14 counties across the country that will benefit from the initiative that will see 52 health facilities benefit. The country also received a donation of PPEs from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, Kenya, that will go to 5 health facilities that they work in.
As county government of Uasin Gishu, one of our focus investment is in health. And in health, we are striving to make the services in health accessible. With the support of our partners today, in the equipment we are receiving, particularly in automating our facilities, we are not just looking at the automation. You know, when people hear about computers, they just think about typing memos, printing. But for us, we are looking at how do we use technology to be able to access specialized healthcare services from our specialized personnel. So the connectivity that is going to be in our facilities is going to enable us share the few specialists that we have within our ranks in our human resource department in health.
We are doing 52 hospitals in 14 counties. We are going to start doing the installation. Some of the equipment which we are going to install will include things like what you have seen, the laptops, the computers, the truck is full, so that there will be a seamless communication between all the hospitals we are going to install.
We have worked with Uasin Gishu County since the year 2014 to improve maternal and newborn health outcomes. We mainly focus on working with healthcare workers at facility levels, training them with skills that will be able to save mothers and newborn babies, as you know, in the maternity wards, so that then we have less deaths, because we know that's really a dangerous period for a mother and for their child. So we are here to present the personal protective equipment that shall be going to 5 of the facilities that we work in, and we are really glad that we are here. We are also here to present training equipment, emergency obstetric training equipment to the county government so that it may facilitate this process. So we are really grateful, and we hope to continue working in partnership together.
As the country struggles to contain the spread of COVID-19, health professionals in Taita Taveta County have gotten a boost of personal protective gears from Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. Speaking while receiving a consignment of 3,416 boxes of surgical face masks and 1,329 face shields, the medical superintendent of Moi County Referral Hospital, Dr. Felix Kimotho, noted that the support will play a major role in cushioning healthcare workers in their day-to-day activities in health facilities. At the same time, the CECM for Health Services, John Mwakima, has acknowledged LSTM for their continued support that has really helped the county reduce pregnancy and childhood-related deaths.
I think with our partners, Liverpool, LSTM, they've been working with us every day. Like my colleague, Madam Tuya said, we have a very strong team making sure the health of the mother and the child continue to be maintained even during these difficult COVID moments. I think also as a referral hospital, we have, and health workers, we have not cowed away to make sure that the lives of mothers are there. We've been able to carry out difficult procedures before. We've been able to deliver mothers surgically when they are COVID positive here at the hospital, just maintaining the protocols that have been disseminated from our ministry headquarters and with their support.
Whatever we are having here today is of good quality, and as it has been demonstrated before us here, the masks are of good quality, the face shields are of good quality, and they have all been approved by the various statutory bodies.
So when we got the intent of the British High Commission through the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine that they want to support the ministry and respective the counties on the same, our hands were open, and they're still open for more others. so that our healthcare workers who are offering a very important responsibility to improve the healthcare of the Kenyans can be achieved. These products have been manufactured and procured locally. They have undergone serious quality checks by ourselves in the ministry. And that's why we also are down here to make sure that the same standards which were set up in the headquarters to the supplier is the same which is filed here.
And let's cross borders. In Malawi, health authorities have banned about 20,000 expired doses of the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine, saying it will reassure the public that any vaccines they do get are safe. The World Health Organization initially urged countries not to destroy expired doses, but has now changed its advice. Uptake of the vaccine in Malawi has been low, and health workers hope the move will increase public confidence. Out of a population of about 18 million people, the country has recorded 34,232 confirmed coronavirus cases and 1,153 deaths. Malawi received 102,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine it acquired from the African Union on the 26th of March and has used almost 80% of them. However, the expiry date on the labels was 13th April, so vaccines were taken out of the cold chain needed to store them. Malawi's principal health secretary told the BBC that it was unfortunate they had to destroy the vaccines, but the benefits outweigh the risks. Yeah. 3. A former rebel leader and about 20 of his supporters have gone on trial in Ivory Coast over an alleged plot to overthrow the government in 2019. Guillaume Soro, who is also a former prime minister, is being tried in absentia as he lives in exile. His relatives, a former minister and several former MPs, have been awaiting trial for the past 18 months. Mr. Soro planned to return to Ivory Coast to run for president in 2019, but was barred from doing so and accused of fomenting insurrection. And Israel's military says its artillery has attacked a number of targets in Lebanese territory in response to rocket fire from within the country. A number of rockets have been fired from Lebanon into northern Israel. Israel's military said 4 rockets were launched, 1 was intercepted, and another landed in an open field. 2 more landed in the Mediterranean Sea. No injuries have been reported after Lebanon fired 4 rockets into the Israeli territory. One of the rockets was intercepted by the Israeli Iron Dome defense system, while the rest fell in open areas. Israel is continuing to bombard Gaza with airstrikes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel's military operation against Hamas in the Gaza Strip will continue despite international calls for an end to the bloodshed. Let us take another commercial break on Newswatch Tonight. Business and sports news is coming up.
The shortest chapter in the Bible is Psalm 117, which says, "The Lord's truth endures forever." Now, that word truth in the Hebrew language is emeth, and the Jewish scholars and doctors tell us that that word's really interesting because it contains the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Mem, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Tau. And they say that's because the Alpha and Omega has a truth that is our comfort all in all from A to Z. In the same way, the Bible says that God is the author and the finisher of our faith. Paul said, he who began a good work in you will be faithful to finish it. Now that word for finish or complete is the word telestai in Greek, the same word that Jesus used on the cross when he said, te telestai, it is finished. Paul hijacked that word and was saying, as surely as Jesus carried his cross to completion, so too the Alpha and Omega will telestai, finish the work that he's begun in you. God is not just somebody who starts a project, he's somebody who finishes it to perfection. He's faithful, all in all, from A to Z, the Alpha and the Omega.
Welcome to Activate.
It's a good morning! Good morning!
Kickstart your day with George and Kerry on the Sweet Hour of Prayer.
And welcome to Activate, this being the station where you listen and live Hope FM.
From Nairobi to the world.
Great music just for you.
Activate.
The only show that keeps you activated!
Yes, indeed.
Activate. Every weekday morning from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Only on Hope FM, where you listen and live.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Welcome back in business news. 3 counties, Kajiado, Makueni, and Machakos, have partnered with the national government through the Konza Technopolis Development Authority to create 73,000 acres of new urban development. The partnership was sealed through a memorandum of understanding signed between the governors Joseph Olelenku of Kajiado County, Dr. Alfred Mutua of Machakos County, Professor Kivutha Kibwana of Makueni County, and Cabinet Secretaries Joe Musheru of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs Najib Balala of Tourism and Wildlife, and Farida Karone of Lands and Physical Planning. The signing of the MOU was witnessed by Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Dr. Fred Matiang'i at Harambee House, Nairobi. The MOU will facilitate the proper planning of the belt, the first of its kind in the country, being implemented jointly between the national government and the county governments, making it attractive for investments in the region while enabling the development of a sustainable and resilient smart city Konza Technopolis.
Konza is a national project. It's our responsibility, all of us. And we have now agreed that we support those wonderful people working under the leadership of my brother here to ensure that the project is delivered to the standards and the expectations of the country. A lot of resources have gone in already, and a lot more resources are going in. We are creating employment for Kenyans. The closest neighbors to Konza are Kajiado, Makueni, and Machakos. So we hope that as we continue to work together, we will resolve whatever issues there are, that you will support those people to deliver on the mandate that we have.
The different people that are involved with Konza have come together and have agreed that this is a very significant and important project for this country. It's a Vision 2030 flagship project, and that we must protect the investment to ensure that Kenyans will reap the benefits from it. So I'm very grateful, Chairman, for the leadership you've given us, bringing us together. I'm grateful that the governors fully embraced the idea that we needed to create this buffer zone, so that we fully protect the investment, but also ensure that the people of Kajiado, Makueni, Machakos will also benefit significantly from the value that will come out of Koda and Konza. I'm very grateful and for the support that we've had, and really again to the team, as has been echoed by my colleagues, for all the work led by the chairman and the CEO that you have put into ensuring that Konza is what it is today.
Today is a very special day that we are all going to put ink to paper so that really we can implement the blueprint we are going to agree upon. So ICT, I have actually visited the place more than twice, and I think we have a big opportunity to create a Silicon Valley-like techno cities. Chairman wetu, pale, and all your teams, I want to say on behalf of the county government, we are all committed to support this.
Kenya Association of Manufacturers has today called for the revival of the sugar industry. This was during the launch of the KAM Sugar Subsector Strategic Plan, which seeks to guide the industry's growth, resilience, and sustainability. Speaking during the launch, Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Lawrence Karanja noted that government remains committed to reviving the sugar industry. KAM Chair Mushai Kunyiha highlighted that the sugar industry continues to face challenges that hinder its revival and eventual growth. The strategic plan was developed following consultations with government and the sugar industry players. It covers 3 strategic themes: sugar subsector policy and advocacy, research and innovation, and value chain and subsector development.
It's important for the sector to sort itself out now. We cannot assume that there will always be some funding from government that will come to rescue us or help us. Similarly, we need to know that this money comes from other taxes, and these are taxes. Government does not make money anywhere. Government collects money from taxes. And so we have to be very careful about how we are spending that money. And so it is important for us to make this sector productive so that it is not just a recipient of tax money, but actually a contributor to the tax pool, so to speak. And I think that's one we can do. So what we've done today, I guess, and we are trying to do this in many areas in KEM, that's what we've always done with our policy and advocacy, is put together a proposal or a framework, a policy proposal. We're saying these are some of the things that we can work on that are going to help this sector to grow so that we can make the industry competitive in the region, because that is what is important for us to be competitive. We hope that we can take on policies and innovations that will help us to be efficient and effective and allow the millers to be both productive and also sustainable. We welcome the stakeholders who are here and will be also recipients of this report to contribute, to give us input and feedback towards the development of this sector. I think this is it is one of those sectors we know cannot be done individually. We need not just the manufacturers, the national government, county governments, and other players to be participating in this for it to grow.
Coop Bank Group has reported a profit before tax of 4.98 billion Kenya shillings for the first quarter of 2021, a modest drop of 2.6% compared to pre-pandemic profit before tax of 5.12 billion Kenya shillings recorded in the first quarter of 2020. This represents a strong profit after tax of 3.46 billion Kenya shillings compared to 3.59 billion reported in the first quarter of 2020. In Coop Bank financial report, total assets grew by 82.5 billion shillings to 553 billion shillings compared to 470 billion in the same period last year. Net loans and advances book grew by 22 billion shillings from 276.2 billion to 298.2 billion shillings. Investment in government securities grew by 50.3 billion shillings to 166.2 billion compared to 115.9 billion in 2020. At the same time, customer deposits grew by 16% from 340 billion to 393.8 billion. Borrowed funds from development partners grew by 19.5 billion to 46.9 billion from 27.4 billion in 2020. The group also prudentially increased loan loss provisions to 2.5 billion in the first quarter of year 2021 in appreciation of the challenges that businesses and households continue to face due to the economic effects of the ongoing pandemic. And in sports, Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer Frank Lampard and Arsenal invisible Dennis Bergkamp inducted into Premier League Hall of Fame via public and panel vote. Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, Eric Cantona, and Roy Keane already inducted. Elsewhere, Chelsea are on course to qualify for the Champions League after a crucial 2-1 win against top four rivals Leicester, while Brighton staged a superb fight back to beat champions Manchester City 3-2. The action continues tonight with Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspurs all in action in the second last fixture of the season. This and more in our sports roundup with Joseph Maingi.
Chelsea's all-time lead scorer Frank Lampard has become the latest player to be inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Lampard scored 177 goals in his 609 Premier League appearances for West Ham, Chelsea and Manchester City. The former captain won the Premier League 3 times during his 13-year stay at the Stamford Bridge, during which he scored 211 goals in all competition. Lampard began his Premier League career as a West Ham Academy graduate and also had a short spell at Manchester City before his retirement. Former Manchester United's captain Eric Cantona and Roy Keane were yesterday inducted to the Hall of Fame as well. To some last night's English Premier League results, and Chelsea avenged their FA Cup final defeat by Leicester to move above the Foxes into the third in the Premier League with a 2-1 win in front of 8,000 fans at the Stamford Bridge. Elsewhere, Brighton Hove Albion scored 3 times in the second half to fight back from 2 goals down and beat champions-elect Manchester City 3-2 at home in a thrilling Premier League encounter in which the champions lost João Cancelo to an early red card. In another fixture of the night, Manchester United drew with relegated Fulham even after Edison Cavani welcomed the return of fans back to the Premier League with a brilliant 40-yard lobed goal. In the last fixture of the night, Patrick Bamford's 16th Premier League goal of the season helped Leeds United to defeat Southampton in front of 8,000 fans at the St Mary's Stadium. The action continues tonight, and Liverpool will endeavour to ensure that Alisson Becker's iconic Premier League moment is not squandered when they face off with Burnley at the Turf Moor tonight. In the other fixture, West Bromwich Albion play their final Premier League game at the Hawthorns before their return to the Championship, welcoming European hopeful West Ham United to the Midland. And with the European football still a match possibility, Arsenal prepare for their penultimate fixture of the Premier League season against Crystal Palace. And finally, Tottenham Hotspurs, who are seeking to consolidate their hold of the 6th spot, welcome Aston Villa to the capital in tonight's top-flight battle. Well, that's your sports. I'm Joseph Maingi.
It's a wrap for Newswatch tonight. After that sports update with Joseph Maingi, thank you for watching. My name is Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Tune in again tomorrow, same place, same time. For now, have a good night. God bless you.